Imagine waking up one day and everyone you know, everyone has forgotten you exist. Not dead, not gone, just erased. That's what happened to the queen in this story, and what she discovered would change everything. Now, settle in, because this is a tale about power, betrayal, and the one person brave enough to remember when the whole kingdom wanted to forget. Picture this: a kingdom so wealthy that even the servants wore gold. Brass gleamed everywhere. The harvests were full. The people were happy. And at the center of all this was a queen named Ifeyinwa. That name means something specific. It means nothing is greater than a woman. And she earned that name. She didn't come from royal blood, no. The elders saw something in her. They saw a woman who could look at two enemies and somehow make them both feel heard. She could settle disputes that had gone on for years. The people didn't just respect her, they loved her. Even the children whispered her name like it was a blessing. Ifeyinwa, Ifeyinwa. But here's the thing. Not everyone was happy about this. In the shadows of the palace, the council of men gathered, and they were angry. Because if the people listened to her, then who were they? What happens to power when a woman holds more of it than you do? One of them, the keeper of ancient rituals, he leaned forward and whispered something that changed everything. There's an old magic, he said, a way to unweave someone from memory as easily as pulling a thread from cloth. And before anyone could stop him, they decided to do it. On a night when the moon was completely dark, when even the stars were hidden, they went deep, deep beneath the palace. By candlelight that burned black instead of yellow, they spoke words, old words, words that hadn't been spoken in 300 years. They wrote her name in ash and burnt it. They poured water on her image and let it dissolve. And over they whispered, "Let her be forgotten. Let her be forgotten. Let her be forgotten." And by morning, it was done. The king woke up. He looked at the empty space beside him, and he felt nothing. He called to his servants, "Who was in this bed?" And they looked at him with blank eyes, because they couldn't remember either. The queen's palace still stood. Her things were still there. But it was like the building itself had become invisible, like a hole that nobody even knew existed.
And then the kingdom started to fall apart. Without her wisdom, the council made terrible decisions. Disputes became conflicts. Conflicts became wars between families. The poor started to go hungry. Justice became a word with no meaning. At night, you could hear people arguing, fighting, for no reason they could even name. Something was wrong. Everyone could feel it, but nobody knew what. The harvests failed, the soil grew angry, even the spirits seemed to be withdrawing their blessing. But in the servants' quarters, there was a young maid named Chinwe.
She wasn't important. She had no power. But she had something everyone else had lost. She still remembered. At night, Chinwe began to hear voices. Not from living people, no. These were older voices. Whispers that seemed to come from the walls themselves. They led her to a sealed chamber, a place nobody even remembered existed. And there, in the darkness, she found them. Hundreds of them, written in the Queen's own hand. Every judgment, every decision that had kept the kingdom together, every moment of wisdom that had held everything up. That's when Chinwe understood. The kingdom wasn't falling because of war or famine. It was falling because everyone had forgotten the person who was holding it up. Chinwe wrapped those scrolls against her chest, and even though fear moved through her bones, even though she knew the council would be furious, she knew what she had to do. She went to the great market square, the place where everyone gathered, the place where old stones still remembered every story ever told. And when the sun was setting and all the people were there, she stood on those ancient stones, and she called out, "People of the kingdom, gather round, for I have a tale to tell you about something you have forgotten." And they came, because there was an emptiness in their hearts they couldn't name. Chinwe opened the first scroll, and she spoke her name. "Ifeyinwa," she said. And something shifted. People's eyes, they cleared, like they were waking from a long sleep. "Ifeyinwa," someone whispered. "Ifeyinwa," another said. "Ifeyinwa, Ifeyinwa, Ifeyinwa." The whole square was saying her name, and with every word, they remembered her face, her voice, the feeling of being truly seen by another human being. Resolution. And as they remembered, the wrongness lifted. The air felt cleaner. The stars came out brighter. The next day, decisions came easier. Disputes settled fairly. The land itself exhaled. The council couldn't touch Chinwe. The people would never have allowed it. And Ifeyinwa, even though she never fully reclaimed her throne, at least she lived in the memory of her people again. The moral. But here's what you need to know. The council tried to erase her completely. They used an ancient magic. But it never fully worked, because truth is like water. You cannot hold it closed in your hands. It finds the cracks. It seeps through. A kingdom that forgets its truth doesn't protect itself. It destroys itself from the inside out. And do you know who saved them? Not the powerful, not the council. A young woman, a maid, someone nobody was even listening to. She held the memory when everyone else wanted to forget, and she spoke it. So when you see the forgetting happening around you, when you see the powerful trying to erase what is true, remember Chinwe and speak the truth yourself. Because a kingdom without truth is no kingdom at all. The tale is told.